which in a very rude translation could mean that, guys, we are all fools. He said it in a very polite and nice way. And some things that Srila Prabhupada can say, we cannot say, because he's an 80-year-old Indian monk, so people can easily swallow what he says. But if a 19-year-old boy comes and says, you are like cats and dogs, and you are ignorant, it creates a different impression. So Prabhupada speaks about the four defects. And he will repeat it. You can see that there are some similarities between this introduction and his purport to the first mantra. So it's quite fitting that this lecture is included here. So what are the four defects common to all the living entities? Can we have some, please? Can I please have somebody who can write and read? Not only write, but also read. Because some people, because I can write, but then nobody can read, including myself. So Prabhupada mentions, what's the first defect Srila Prabhupada mentions? Yes? No, there are mistakes. And Srila Prabhupada gives also his brilliance is that he gives an example for each of these defects. A very simple example, very understandable example. So, what illustration for the mistake Srila Prabhupada gives for mistakes? Mahatma Gandhi, yes. Mahatma Gandhi. You know that when Mahatma Gandhi was shot, the guy, this Godze, he tried that exact thing, in exact place, in exact same time of the day before. He was trying to shoot from his gun from across the wall, and something didn't work, and he ran away. And Gandhi was warned, please don't go. He said, no, I must go. He might have had some good, lofty, noble reasons to do this in his explanation. So maybe you can take the other marker and write Gandhi, please. And he went, and he was shot. And Srila Prabhupada wrote to him. A letter that it's there in the Vedabase. He said, Mahatma Gandhi, he's back to God. He says, yes, you deserve to be called you deserved your Mahatma by being spiritual. So Srila Prabhupada accepts that. We have his very nice quote on the Gita, which we sell. Every Gita has a very nice quote from Mahatma Gandhi. So he says, so you love Gita, you're spiritual, so please, now you have achieved your goal. India is now independent. So now you should retire. It's best you retire because you are in danger of being even, politics is very dangerous. So they can even kill you. So now, why don't you use your authority and just absorb yourself in pure preaching of the Gita? Because otherwise they might even, so Prabhupada practically warned him, don't do it, they can kill you. And Mahatma Gandhi, he made a mistake and he didn't do this. Although it seems he did try to make his presentation as more and more spiritual. He was trying to, include different spiritual karma yoga elements in his presentations. And found the society. Yes. So that's the problem. And does it happen to you? You make mistakes sometimes? I remember that joke from Hridayananda Maharaj, who says that I made a mistake once. I thought I was wrong, but I wasn't. So everybody makes mistakes. Okay, the next defect. Yes? Falling in illusion, yes, illusion. And Srila Prabhupada gives, he says, Maya means what is not. Ma means not, ya is what, so what is not. Yeah? So, what isn't. And again, a very simple example Srila Prabhupada gives. What example Srila Prabhupada gives to demonstrate the illusion? What is our illusion? I'm this body, false identity, exactly. So I'm this body. All right. I'm Mr. John, I'm a rich man, I'm this, I'm that. This is illusion. In some languages, drugs and narcotics are called illusioners. At least in Slovenian, they're called mamilas. And means in Croatian, how do you call drugs? Also mamila or? Yeah. Huh? Droga. Prabhupada says that compared to the false ego, all the drugs of this world, like heroin and cocaine, are like pepper and salt. Like pepper and salt compared to the false ego. It's the strongest drug. And it can be positive, but we shouldn't neglect the negative. It can be I am the enjoyer or I am the sufferer. I am the controller, or the opposite, I'm the victim. And oftentimes it's much more difficult to convince the person to give up the negative identification. So yeah, that's I'm the body. I'm young. I'm old. I'm man. I'm a woman, and so forth. Okay, third one is cheating. Thank you. And the example is very interesting. What's the example of cheating Prabhupada gives? It's actually quite funny, the example he gives. Mm-hmm. Yes. Writing books. It's like writing books. Yes. Or giving answers. Did you notice how difficult it is to say, I don't know? When they ask you something? They ask you something, and especially if they ask you nicely, you know. Prabhu or Manaji, do you know? You feel, I think so difficult to just say I don't know. That's sometimes actually it's changing, but it used to be a problem in some countries, like in India, when you ask for directions. Can you please tell us where is such and such? Where is Sakshi Gopal temple? And there. And then you go there, there's nothing. You ask somebody else, it's there. Yeah, go there. It's not that they want to cheat, it's just they want to help. And it's intolerable, a guy needs help, he asks me, and I tell him I don't know, it's, it's not out of malice, out of bad heart. It's out of goodness of their heart. So now I respect. Now it's changing a lot. I again and again in India I meet people. I ask them, where is this, or how is that, or something, and they say I don't know. That impresses me greatly. I think, wow. Especially after this, that means. And lastly, Prabhupada says, the fourth famous defect is that senses, imperfect senses. Senses are imperfect. And one demonstration for that Srila Prabhupada gives is yes, sun. Yes, sun. That it looks small or big, yes. And also, Prabhupada says, seeing in a dark room. Right? So you can, seeing in the dark. So in the dark, all the things are there, but we don't see. Right? So, and it's just one sphere or one sense. Or even we think we see, like here. Because they have sensitivity in the higher spectrum of the light. So, what do we see? We say it's white, is it? It is, okay, so we should just, specify. It's white within the limits of the visible spectrum to the human eye, normal human eye, my human eye. Yes, so therefore, logically, with these four problems, we need a revelation, or we need some help from a higher source. We need a higher source of knowledge, or ideally a perfect source of knowledge. And fortunately, Veda is the perfect source of knowledge coming from God. God is good. God is good. Sometimes we think that God comes etymologically from good, but it's not. If you go to the dictionary, they say that it's coming from the word hutam, meaning one who is called, invoked. He whom they call. How do you say this in gerufene? No. Angerufene. Yeah, something like this. So, which is also a good idea. So somebody to whom you turn. Like they say in war, in the foxholes under the bullets, there are no atheists. Yeah? So, in some situations when there is no other help, people call him, turn to him. That's how my grandfather became a priest. In World War II, he was an atheist. And in World War II, he was crossing a river, swimming across a river under the machine gun fire. And he prayed. And no bullet touched him. And in the night, he had a dream of God. So after that, he gave up smoking. He started reading books, and he became a Christian priest. And then he was reading our books. And telling all the family, I should go to Adi Purusa's monastery. What use of me staying? But Father, you are a Christian. They have a different prayer. So what? I can learn. Yes, so we need, thank you. So we need help. Because God is good, He gives, He sends Veda, He sends some information, He sends some religion to every human society. It may be undeveloped, it may be very rudimentary, like don't eat your grandfather, eat only the enemies you have killed with your own hands, which, come to think of it, is already a step forward. It's more civilized to not eat your grandfather. Hare Krishna. And they will progress if they, follow the rule of this culture. Then they will, next life, up, 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 up. So human life, Prabhupada will say, human life is a life of responsibility. It's not for cats and dogs. Human life, that's why we earn karma. We are responsible for our choices. Therefore, Prabhupada says that every society gets, Krishna sends something to every society. Then Prabhupada addresses a doubt. You may call the Vedas Hindu, but Hindu is a foreign name. We are not Hindus. So we can see this is, we can technically be classified, so how to say, in mundane terms, in mundane conventional religious terms, we could be classified as Hindu, especially for the purposes of registration and other things. But that's mundane terms, right? Social convention. But philosophically, here Srila Prabhupada speaks philosophically and spiritually and religiously that we are not Hindus. We are not Hindus. He speaks about Varnashrama and accepting the Veda. In one place, this is a very nice point. Prabhupada says, our mission is not to convert people to Hinduism. Our mission is to... Anybody can complete this sentence? That's very high. That's correct, but that's a very high. He made it simpler. Pardon? But what do we give people? To help them? To help everybody? That's what he said. To human life? And you had something saying? Make everybody happy. And the only way to do this are all these things you mentioned. Krishna consciousness, love of Godhead, a responsible human life. For social interaction, Varnashrama is good organization. So make everybody happy. And if you search for this, he says, this is the Vedic mission. He repeats this about 60 times with Sanskrit. And without Sanskrit, he repeats this uncountable times. That our mission is to make everybody happy. We are not about, just putting another label on somebody or whatever. Or, this is very important, especially for preachers, that we remember why we preach, any type of preaching. The goal of our preaching is to, this is our goods, this is what we want to give, happiness. And happiness is possible only on the spiritual platform, not on the body platform. Only when you are realizing your soul, your lover, and you are a beloved friend of Krishna. You're a loving servant of Krishna and you are a beloved friend of Krishna. Just think of this for 1 second. That you are a beloved friend and a loving servant of Krishna. Already that makes you much happier, isn't it? It is. The body, my God, teeth fall out, knees hurt, and this is cold, this is hot, this is all kinds of things. And if everything is perfect, we think, do they like me? Right? My God. Unnecessary. Good. So, can answer you, your mother. He says that Veda is correct, even if some things seem contradictory. This is my very favorite topic, contradictions. And sometimes in this point I launch into a passionate discussion of contradictions, but I'm not sure about our schedule. We go till about 9:30, yes? Okay. Fortunately, the topic of contradictions comes up also in Mantra 5 and 6, so I can save my passion for contradictions till that moment. So far, Prabhupada says that we accept them, even if some things are contradictory. I'll just mention one simple way how we deal. What do we? Actually, it's a epistemological principle, or the principle of how we resolve contradictions from Jaimini, Mimamsa. Mimamsa actually is, it means, Mimamsa is literally a system of analysis. Mimamsa is analysis, from the word man, the mind. So, how do we resolve contradictions? What contradiction Prabhupada gives as an example? Cow dung. Stool is dirty, cow dung is pure. I remember some Sankirtan devotees were traveling and they rented some room or something, and they had, with a kitchen, and they had a box with cow dung, I think fresh cow dung. They got somewhere, I don't know. And, there was a table in the kitchen, food, everything, but because it was like Karmi kitchen, so they had a box with cow dung. And then the owners came into the kitchen, and they were looking, they have food, and then, and in the middle, they have a box with stool. That's what it looks for them. They were really flabbergasted, These guys are weird. Why would you keep a piece of stool on your table? That's how you purify the, dirty, ritually impure things. So, the Veda says, yes, stool is dirty, but cow dung is pure. And then, yes, it was proven. Studies prove that it has antiseptic characteristics. It can protect from infection. It can even cure many wounds. My father told me something about some wound he had that was cured like that. So what do we do with such? So we accept both statements. And what do we do with these contradictions? How do we resolve such contradictions? What's the method for doing that? I sometimes use an example. Did we? the point is that we do accept Vedic statements, even if they seem to be contradictory. And we will discuss this when we come to Mantra 5. Contradictions are an indication that the description is complete. If there are no contradictions at all, it's 100% mathematically proven sign that it's an incomplete picture. It's a Kurt Gödel's theorem. There was one Austrian brilliant mathematician called the greatest mathematician of the 20th century, friend of Einstein, called the greatest logician since Aristotle, and he even tried to write a proof of God mathematically. There's a whole detective story about this, written by another mathematician, Jeffrey Keller. I can download it anyway, that's separate. So contradictions, in fact, are an indication of completeness. That's a famous completeness or incompleteness theorem by Gödel, 1931 and 32, where he basically he demolished naive materialism, showing that we need one conclusion from this theorem is that you cannot know the system from inside, you need an outside view, you need an outside source to give you full picture, meaning you need Shastra, you need Veda. So Prabhupada speaks about three ways to know things. There are three main, you can boil down always to all the methods for getting knowledge into three main categories. So what are they? figurative because if this was literal, you would not be able to speak because you all have this shabda in your hands with many verses. If they were all making sound all the time, that would be quite loud in your book rather than your. So that's a little figurative. But it is a sound, it's a vibration, so that's sound coming from, vibration, information coming from the spiritual world, Shabda. And Prabhupada discusses drawbacks of these different methods. He says that even, he gives a nice example, he says that even in ordinary things, we rely on authorized source, authorized sound. He gives an interesting example from 1969, radio program, right? If you want to know what's happening when, you just accept a radio program, right? You don't speculate, a little maybe, but you want to get the real, you go and look it up, check. So, yes, authorized sound. Shabda praman. Pramana means the proof. Literally, it means, like in Paris, you have, I think, a meter made of, I forgot what, etalon, the measure, yardstick. Yeah, yardstick, I think. This a stick which is the measure, the ideal meter to which all the other meters could be compared. So, pramana, that's literally mana in that sense means measure, so perfect measure, something, a proof, a perfect proof. So there are these three ways to get knowledge. See, speculate or think or analyze, nachdenken, and get good knowledge from good source. Get good knowledge from good source. Here they are synonyms. They are synonymous. Evidence is a little, somewhat. It's like a somewhat technical use here. It's like evidence in the sense of having a verse from the Shastra, which is a proof. Evidence, they use it in criminology. You know, when there is a crime, evidence is something that they show. You see, there is his fingerprints there. He was there. That's evidence, right? So something that proves, although it has other meanings, but here they are synonymous. Proof and evidence here will be synonymous. So now a question. By the way, you can say that you have learned. If somebody asks you, what were you studying, you can say, we were studying epistemology. Or if you find somebody philosophically inclined and educated, you can say, what about epistemology? How do you know that you know that you know? Are you sure that you know that you don't know? Or that you... How do you know that we know? That's an important question. Like they say, you can never be sure. Are you sure? Or nothing is certain. Is that certain? You can never make absolute statements. Is that an absolute statement? Yeah, there are... there are many problems with this is a very that's at the core of all philosophy. So the first thing, Tattva Sandarbha in 6 Sandarbhas also deals with that. How do we get knowledge? And basically it leads to the Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam is the perfect source of all knowledge. So in philosophical terms, it's called epistemology. How do we get the knowledge? Now, a question. Which of these three are do we accept? Yes, thank you. Another Tirtha Prabhu. Huh? What did I say? Yes, sorry. Yes. Yes, we accept all three of them. We accept all three of them. Exactly. Like, depends for where. Like, for example, for me, to stand up, I have to look at the mic, you know. If I don't look, I just, you know, bump into the mic. So, and to move, I have to see. Here's the stand. And so when I walk, there is a door. So I'm using my eyes, I'm using my senses. So for ordinary things, this is what we use. That's the sphere where it's applicable, and we should use it. Yes? when you drive, use your eyes. And that's correct. When you have to study, when you have to learn something, when you have to prove something, then yes, you can use anumana. When you have to figure out when the timings for the breakfast and lunch are going to be, or where can you find somebody, or some of these things, you can use logic. It may be not perfect. I remember once I was giving a lecture on this imperfection of logic, and I said, like, for example, our cook is not here in the class, and the cooking is over because the offering has been made. So I can speculate that the cook might be sitting in his room eating Barfi Mahaprasadam. But that is just my speculation. Very possible he's just finishing his rounds, or so many things. The funny thing about that particular story was that the cook was hearing the lecture on the radio, and he was sitting in his room and eating the Mahaprasadam Barfi. And he froze. He said, Krishna, sorry. So it may sometimes work. But for things which are beyond our comprehension, absolute, universe, source of everything, source of the universe, our source, source of life, the ultimate reality, these things, by definition, are unreachable. They are metaphysical. Metaphysical means beyond our natural abilities, beyond the limits of our natural abilities. They are by definition impossible to speculate the answer to. One example given is that if they give you a chapati, and you see it like you see this world, it's a creation of God. You can make some conclusions about God. But if they give you a chapati, can you tell how old is the farmer who grew the wheat? How many children the farmer has? What music does he like? Does he play a flute, or does he play a guitar, or does he what? Just from eating a chapati. Can you say this? So, some things just you cannot. You need really authorized information for that. He has to actually reveal it. Krishna, and fortunately, Krishna is also absolute. Is supposed to be. I mean, it's also logical that he is kind, and he is kind. So he reveals himself. He gives us knowledge. always. And the more sincere we are, the more selfless and unmotivated we are, the more he reveals himself. If we are completely surrendered, sincere, selfless, basically loving, bhakti, the more we get the revelation, the more he opens himself to us. He gives us full knowledge. I mean, as much as we can get at any given moment. But completely, of course, he is being transcendental, being absolute. We cannot speculate. The greatest brain is not enough to know him completely. The greatest brain will not tell from a chapati, will not tell how many children the farmer has. And there was a very famous, one of the most famous philosophers of the 20th century, Martin Buber. He was teaching in Heidelberg, I think, as far as I remember, Martin Buber. Then he had to, he's on Israel's 50 shekel note, I think, on the banknote. He wrote a very famous book, Ich und Du. Ich und Du. I and Thou, in English. It's important. He says that the main quest, it's a very mystical and inspired book. He says he couldn't even edit afterwards. It was really inspired. He said that the main quest of religion is to stop calling God him or it. Just like also in relationships, not to call the other person it, him. Basic it, that's the main thing, to make the other person an object for manipulation, enjoyment, exploitation, or even for, benefaction, doing good to them or whatever. And start calling God Du. Meaning person to person. Very personal, direct connection. He says that's the goal of religion. To start calling God you, thou, not you, thou, Du. To establish a personal relationship with God. And he said, which is sounds very good. Sounds like what we are trying to do. And he said that the God who can be understood, I don't care to know. I'm not interested in, because it's not God. It's just some, That's the idea about idols, to avoid idol worship, right? To not create some caricature, mini version, abridged version of God, which would be, just a caricature. Yeah, there's a caricature of God. And always understand that He is unlimited, infinite. That's why yesterday night we arrived here, and it was very nice. We could see the stars here are so bright. You have clear sky, and you can see. And any one of you ever in your life, especially before Krishna consciousness, looked at the stars and thought, what's beyond? And then beyond, and then beyond, and that creates a theistic feeling in your heart, a religious feeling, in a good sense, isn't it? Because it gives you the feeling of infinity. You get some touch of who God is, and that's only one aspect, infinity. Just the concept. That's why they blamed mathematician Cantor. They said that who introduced the concept of infinity in mathematics, he said, you are introducing mysticism into mathematics. How can you speak about infinity? You cannot, how can you define? Turns out there are 3 types of infinity in mathematics, and it's also exciting subject, but it's separate. So just touching the infinity is inspiring. So if God is infinite, how can you know Him completely? So only if He reveals Himself to you, then you can know Him more and more and more, and to the maximum possible extent, or to the ultimate limit. Any of you, I mean, who among you in your life thought, in your search, I would like to know more about, sincerely was searching for more understanding of reality, and then you got books or met devotees? Yeah? I remember there was a story. Some devotees in Belarus, Weiss-Russland, whatever you call them, rang a bell, and the guy opens the door. He says, "Oh, thank you! Finally, you have come. Come in, please, please. You have come with the books." You know, that's not the usual. So yes, yes, please. Oh, finally. Oh, please, the books. How much can I give you? Oh, thank you, thank you. You know, they were surprised. You know, how did you know that we are coming with the books? He said, "Oh, you came to me in a dream. Don't you remember? Can you please remind us?" When was that? You know, we come to so many dreams, you know, so many people. You know, somebody maybe just... And he said, "Because I read the Bible back and forwards, and I was inspired, and I was praying, God, please give me more, give me more, give me more understanding, give me more knowledge." And I was praying and praying and praying, and then last night, the two angels, you came to me in a dream and said, "Tomorrow we will bring you the books with full knowledge. And now you are here. Thank you." I mean, there are many stories like that. It's work. It's reality. There's so many stories like that. That's undeniable. That's our life. And then Prabhupada concludes this introduction by specifying. Okay, so books, which books? Veda. Veda, among the Veda, okay, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam. Basically, Srila Prabhupada glorifies the Bhagavatam. He says, even Shankaracharya, yes, accepts the Veda. And so basically he quotes the impersonalists, even them. In Tattva Sanarbha Jiva Goswami, he speaks about in Bhagavatam, he goes in a similar progression, and then he says the Veda, the problem with the Veda is that there are 13,106, so as I remember, shakhas or branches of the Veda, from which only about 100 survived, even to the time of, are known to the time of Jiva Goswami. So he says, this is, it's like, less than 1%. So if you have, if you have a book like this Isopanishad, and you have here 150 pages. Wow. 150 pages. And if you have one page from this book, of course this is Prabhupada's books, so probably even from this book you will find some bhakti somewhere. But from one page, can you draw a reliable picture what the book says from one page? No. So therefore he says we need a scripture, Shastra, which is complete. And that's Puranas. Puranas are structured that they give a complete picture. Creation, maintenance, universe, everything. And out of Puranas, again, Sattvika, goodness. And out of them, Bhagavatam, perfect. And also, every verse commented, so we are sure that this is complete. So that's why he brings it to the Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. So that's Prabhupada's introduction to this. Yes, Ananda Krishna Prabhu. Yajurveda is the one of the four Vedas, the biggest Veda. It's the Veda that is used for by the priest who constructs the Yagya Kund. If you have four priests, then this is the Hotri Stapatya how you call it? Stapatya Veda, and Hotri Brahma Udgata, and the one who Advaryu priest, one who constructs the Yagya and who makes sure about this, and it has the hymns in different structures. Some hymns overlap with Rig Veda, but Rig Veda is more structured, and it has two main divisions, Shukla and Krishna, black and white. Shukla is called Shukla because it is well structured, and Krishna is called Krishna black, Krishna in the sense of black, because it just has all the texts put together. Like maybe in your computers you may have some folder where you just have things to sort out later, right? Called miscellaneous or stuff, or temporary. There's no more permanent directory on my computer than the temporary directory. So this is from Shukla Yajurveda. It means it's structured. Shukla Yajurveda. Prabhupada will also mention this in the first verse when he speaks about this. Any other questions for this? So the four defects. This is one thing we want to remember from here, and that Shabda. Why Shabda? Again, why do we need Shabda or Veda or Bhagavatam for understanding the absolute truth? Everything is included in the Bhagavatam, yes. And in general, Shabda? Yes, we are not able to understand. Even material knowledge we cannot understand in full. So we need another source. We need a source of, and that's coming from Him, from Krishna, from revelation. Our senses are imperfect. We cannot understand that unlimited, infinite absolute. So He reveals this. And of course, the implication is that bhakti, we need to make Him happy. Then He reveals Himself. And any more questions on this? And I am so excited that we still have 10 minutes before 9:30, and and we may start the beautiful invocation that I think we should inspire Krishna, Radha Madan Mohan Gornitai Giridhari, to reveal Himself to us by standing up and raising our hands and lovingly saying Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare I see Krishna is already inspiring you. Now, this invocation Yes, yes. I think it's in this in the end there in the questions you will see it's there. Yeah. They are repeated also in the first month. So invocation, in Sanskrit it's called Shanti Pat. Pat is like a chant, and Shanti is what we like, peace. But it's only one translation. Another translation is Sham, means welfare, fortune, happiness, all of these. So it has a larger also meaning, all of these things. And this invocation, in fact, does not pertain only to Isopanishad. It's one technical point. It's actually Isopanishad you can find Isopanishad without this Shantipat at all. But usually Upanishads are started with such an invocation, special prayer, and this exact same Shantipat or invocation also is preceding Brihad Aranyaka Upanishad. So this is Shukla Yajurveda invocation, and it's very beautiful, and it is the one of two verses that are tested in the test. Yes? And in general, it's very good verse to know, very good verse to learn, and it's very easy verse to learn because there is only one word to learn basically here. It's just repeated many times. And the word is very simple. Purnam. Purnam means full. In Slavic languages, it's even more. In Latin, plenary. So it's reversed. In Slavic languages, you have polny. Yes, it's the same. You can see this word goes into all the Indo-European languages. So basically, it's full means perfect, complete. So if you remember just this, that this purna means full, complete, then it will be very easy for you to remember, to understand the translation. Basically, it means this is complete, and he is complete, and from the complete comes complete, but he is still complete. So everything is complete, everything is good, everything is perfect. Of course, our translation here is very philosophical. We do not demand you to give that translation. Don't worry. You don't have to give that for the test. You can just give in your words. The translation here you can read. Let's read together, those who have English. The personality of Godhead is perfect and complete. And because he is completely perfect, all emanations from him, such as this phenomenal world, are perfectly equipped as complete wholes. Whatever is produced of the complete whole is also complete in itself. Because he is the complete whole, even though so many complete units emanate from him, he remains the complete balance. All right. So now let's chant this verse. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate Om Santi Santi Santi. Athashi Isopanishad, and then they chant Om Ishavasenam Saram. Yes. It starts with Om, and the direct meaning of Om in Sanskrit? The word Om in Sanskrit means yes. That's the literal meaning of the word Om. So Prabhupada has a lecture saying that we should all become God's yes men. Krishna says, okay, do this. We say, yes, sir. Jawohl. Yeah, jawohl. Yes, sir. So Om. Of course, Om is also Radha Krishna and Shaktis. Om is absolute truth. Om is the name of Krishna. Patanjali in the Yoga Sutra, he says, Om Tadvachaka Pranava. Om is the name of God. Tadjapam tad artabhavanam. And you must do the japa of it, meditating on the object of the name. And this will remove all obstacles on the path of samadhi, to samadhi. Patanjali, he says that you must do japa of the name of God. And Shankaracharya, there in the Yoga Sutra, in the commentary, says that pranava means perfect glorification of God. He's very devotional in the Yoga Sutras. He's probably have written his Vedanta Sutra commentary, and now I can write my devotional. He says perfection is meeting God face to face. He makes sure he uses very clear words, face to face, like we have in verse 15 here. Yes. So Krishna is complete, and Prabhupada gives a very short and sweet purport here, which already has very powerful arguments. And in general, if we can speak this verse with acceptance, sincere, if we agree with this verse honestly, if I can honestly say this verse, then I will be perfect, because it means I surrender. Because it means I have to say that whatever is there is perfect. Krishna, having my wisdom tooth pulled out 2 days ago is perfectly okay. I think that was a perfect arrangement. And the fact that there is pain and this and obstacle, it's perfect. And the fact that it's perfect. Right? So if I can say like that, it means either I have a spiritual vision or I have surrendered, which is also very spiritual. So, and then the whole Isopanishad is training us. It will train us how to reach that peaceful state of mind, of seeing the perfection. We have the beautiful verse from Prabodhananda Saraswatipad that anybody who got a sidelong glance of Gauranga sees the whole world as happy, the place of happiness. Just one glance. Doesn't care about heaven and liberation. So it's a good and important verse. I think we will chant this verse before every. When do we have the next section? 4:30 to 6:30. Yes, okay. So Prabhupada already uses this verse to speak about three completenesses, three perfections. Krishna is complete, material world is complete, and Jiva is complete. And he already uses this to establish that Krishna is a person. So that's the first very strong argument. Actually, there are two arguments here. One is that Sat, Chit and Ananda Vigraha are the characteristics of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, which is accepted by everybody. That absolute, even impersonalists, they accept Sat, Chit, Ananda. Brahman is Sat, Chit, Ananda. Vigraha, they don't, that's not the Mayavadis, but Sat, Chit and Ananda, Mayavadis accept. Mayavadis say that there's this technical thing. Mayavadis say that everything is Sat Chid Ananda Rupanama. Out of 5, 2 are false, 3 are true. So you should get rid of 2, Rupanama, form and name, temporary. Material world, that's correct. Material names and material forms are illusory, false. And everything else is Sat Chid Ananda. So even impersonalists accept this. But only Krishna has these 3 aspects in full. Only in relationships, in interactions, in variety can there be Ananda. So, Brahman has the aspect of Sat, existence. Paramatma is the source of Chit, consciousness and knowledge. And Ananda, that's already Krishna playing the flute. You can come in the evening sometimes and hear Peter playing flute, shakuhachi, for Radha Madan Mohan. And it's very nice. So you can imagine how nice it would be also to hear Krishna. You see, he has a flute. So sometimes you might hear. Prabhupada says that the sound of flute is present in the sounds of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And Rishikesh Baba says that that's his mobile phone. He plays woo, and then Vishakha Gopi hears, he's calling me. He plays another sound, and Radharani hears her name. So he has, for every Gopi, he has, only she hears that. So there is fun, right? There's lots of spiritual fun in the spiritual world. So that's only possible when there is form, personality, interaction, Krishna. So that's one proof. Another proof is very elegant. Prabhupada says that thus, so absolute truth is complete. Absolute means complete, right? So if he were formless, or if he were less than his creation in any other way, he could not be complete. It's very elegant. If we, teeny parts, have form and are persons, then he, being the complete, how can he be bereft of these characteristics? Then he would be less complete than us. It's very elegant, isn't it? You see the beauty of this argument? That he's complete, so he has everything. Absolutely, he has everything. So therefore, if in his creation we have form and personality, maybe imperfect, but it's there, so how can he be less than us? How can he be less than his creation? It's a very beautiful argument Prabhupada gives here. And that's, I believe that's Prabhupada's own. I have not seen any commentaries other than Prabhupada's contribution. Prabhupada very beautifully gives this very strong argument. It's good to remember this argument. Now, 2 last points to conclude. By the way, if you give lectures, this is a very good way to wake people up. You say, to conclude, or in conclusion, everybody becomes happy. And then you can speak for another 15 minutes. Then again you say, in summary. Yeah, that's the answer. So basically 2 more points here. How the material world is complete or perfect, and how the jiva is perfect. That's a little challenging, because we always say that the material world is imperfect. So then Prabhupada gives three answers how this world is perfect or complete. One thing, how it is complete, what is one explanation from Srila Prabhupada? And anybody remembers or can see the explanations how Prabhupada says it's complete? Yes, thank you. It has a complete program. It runs its complete perfect program. It has a complete perfect program. We just need to understand what's the purpose, what's the plan. It runs according to the complete perfect plan and time of Krishna. Yes. Prabhuji, your good name is? Yes. So, complete time. It's completed in time. Then, according to the perfect plan, Krishna's plan, perfect. You just need to know the plan. And the plan. What's the plan? Like, what's the plan of the complete cycle in a washing machine? To wash the things. So we are here rotating, testing our options, and then at the end, we can take another cycle, but then we think, no, maybe. Yes. And the third way Prabhupada gives why this world is complete. Anybody sees that? It says 24 elements. Everything is arranged to produce everything necessary. No other unit in the universe need make an extraneous effort to try to maintain the universe. So like everything is there. Everything needed for the functioning is provided. Everything is given for everything to function properly. One Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Swami, in one place he says one beautiful thing. It's also probably in other places, but he said it in a nice way. He said that little booklet, Coming to Our Divine Home or something like that, every situation that we are in is perfectly selected to help us to help our spiritual growth. So every situation is a perfect situation for our spiritual growth, is ideal for our spiritual growth. It's just necessary to understand the goal. And spiritual growth is the goal. And then you can not physical comfort, but spiritual growth. All the other things may or may not be there. But spiritual growth, if you understand that. So everything is provided. So these are the three ways this world is complete. And how the jiva is complete. Do you feel complete? Do you feel perfect? So without false humility, can I ask the perfect students, please raise their hands, please. Oh, those who feel perfect. Nice. So, Prabhupada explains, why do we not feel perfect? Disconnected. Yes, disconnected. So, our perfection is if we take the proper place and connect ourselves. If we take the proper place, then we are perfect. So our perfection is in finding our perfect place, perfect role, and then that's our perfection. Prabhupada writes this in this last paragraph. He gives an example of a part of a machine that if you find some screw on a road or some part of a machine on the road, it's useless. But if it's in a machine, it's very valuable. And in this last paragraph, Prabhupada says, the completeness of human life can be realized only when one engages in the service of the complete whole. All services in this world, whether social, political, communal, international, or even interplanetary, if some of you are engaged in the interplanetary services. Sankirtan, yeah, Bhaktisiddhantaji said that after we make this earth Krishna conscious, we go to other planets to make them Krishna conscious. So all of these services will remain incomplete until they are dovetailed, harmonized, with the complete whole. When everything is dovetailed with the complete whole, the attached parts and parcels also become complete in themselves. So when the hand, another example, the hand, when the hand is attached, then it's, in a sense, it's complete or perfect. It perfectly fulfills its function. But when it's cut off, then it's garbage or something terrible. Potential we can say that from the point of view of the real position, constitutional position, right? So constitutionally, if we are in a true position, in our real true position, yes, we are perfect, we are functioning perfectly. But now we are temporarily experimenting with funny things. So we are put in a perfect playing ground, which functions also as a washing machine with a perfect cycle to show us all the options and give us a chance to draw the conclusion. Do we persist in being separate? And because we are by nature parts of Krishna, it's intrinsically impossible to be happy without him. Like the hand, or it's impossible to. So we are parts of Krishna. That's who we are. So therefore, the natural healthy state is we reconnect, and reconnect how the part reconnects through service. Bhakti. Part serves the whole. Part serves the whole, and that establishes a connection. And then it will be perfect. So for us it's potential, but if you take the eternity, then it's our constitutional, real deep position. And the way to reconnect, made easy by Srila Prabhupada, very clear, is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Yes, Om Purnam, Purnam. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnam Adaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Santi Santi Santi. Thank you very much. Perfect expansions of the perfect whole. And we continue at 4:30. We continue to read 1, 2, and 3. And in general, I would greatly recommend that you every day you just like leaf through all the mantras, just like like speed read just the verses. If you are a serious student like Ananda Krishna Prabhu, I suggest that you maybe not exactly now, but in general, pay very close attention to the Sanskrit word by word, because if you very carefully read it, after 2 years you will start understanding Sanskrit directly. And that opens so much beauty and so much depth, and it's so much deeper meaning is revealed, open to you, and also simpler, because you can see that these translations, you can see like now we have if we read this translation, we have to struggle in English to give the full complexity, but in Sanskrit you just have one word, Purnam. In translation you have to say complete, whole, balance, absolute, Sanskrit Purnam. So if you pay attention to Sanskrit, then it's easier to even to understand and remember. So if you leaf through, speed read the verses, it will help you to get a picture of the book, because the book is very elegant and it's also complete. It has a message and it's beautifully presented. It's like a music piece or a drama. It's a story. It has a dramatic plot here. There's a certain dramatic plot in this book, with the beginning, inception, conflict, scandal, 2 scandals actually, then resolution, and then sudden help, and the very happy end. It's a story, yes. So if you kind of review, then it helps you to grasp.